Kevin, did you click go live on YouTube?
Thought I did. Did I not?
I'm sitting here waiting. I was just double checking.
Oh, did that page just need to refresh? It was clicked. Okay. I must have clicked off of it for everybody watching. Welcome back to the show.
There it
welcome
goes.
To the show. All right.
There it goes. All right.
Thought I did.
I wish I could have a job where I made $45 million a year, not show up to work, not get fired, though.
You're talking about Kyrie?
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah. I think all of us wish we could do that. Sounds
just
like
not
a
show
breeze.
up for the week.
Not show up for 7 games.
And then now they got another player. I'm going to show up again. I'm just going to decide to show up now for however long I want to show up, and then we'll see if we work together or not.
And not only that, so for those of you obviously just tuning in here on YouTube, we're just starting off right now with the NBA, talking about the Nets and obviously how their dynamic is going to work after they traded for James Harden last week. Kevin Durant has been there and has been working, but Kyrie has been non-existent almost for the last 7 to 8 games. And I agree with you, Zach, where you say how I wish I had a job where I could get paid $40+ million and miss work, but when you look at how minimal the fines are compared to what he's getting paid, I mean, there's really no incentive for him not to come back at a reasonable time. He's only getting fined $50,000 for not following COVID protocol. I'm like, excuse me? $50,000 is chump change to someone that makes, I don't know, probably $1 to $2 million a game.
Yep.
Come on now.
The other thing happened is everybody thought Harden was kind of playing the lame dog in Houston, and he obviously was, because he's playing back to his normal form, going with that. He kind of put them in a bad position, and even with our other segments going to come up, Deshaun Watson's kind of putting the same pressure on Houston. And think about that. That's the same city. Could you imagine if it was Charlotte losing both of our biggest players in the same year?
It's tough, obviously, for them, but I'll just say this. James Harden wasn't doing them any favors by the style of play that he was playing.
And you're right. And I don't think anybody can sustain and win with that style of, I'm just going to go one-on-one. I'm going to pop you 40 points. I'm going to get fouled for 30 free throw shots a game, and then when you get to the playoffs, we don't get fouled.
Not just that. I'm talking about in general how he really wasn't even given 100% while he was on the court. And they've got a new head coach. They've got new players in town, and they're all really wanting to come in to set their culture up and win. And you've got one guy out here who's supposed to be the leader and the superstar, made it adamant he doesn't want to be there with his words, but he made it just as adamant he didn't want to be there with how he played. And I felt like really this was the best thing for Houston, because then they actually went out. Through that trade, they got Victor Oladipo,
and so he balled out tonight.
And so they actually have a player who's going to give 100% on the court compared to old fat Harden running around acting like he really hates it there.
I thought they did. There's a lot of people that said they didn't think they done well in the trade. I thought they raked it in pretty well. I mean, for what they got 4 draft picks, 4 switches.
If you look at the production that James Harden gives you, you'll always look at it and say, okay, Houston really didn't match what he brings. But if he wasn't going to give you that production anyways, I think you came out on top by getting who you did.
And plus, those players, those picks, they might not ever pan out into players picked. You know how people use players, or use picks,
yes,
to get bigger stars to come in. And look how Boston's done it from what they stole from the Nets, because the Nets were just so ready to get Paul Pierce. Was it Paul Pierce, Garnett, and Ray? Did Ray Allen go there too?
No.
I think it was just Paul Pierce.
I don't think Ray Allen went. It was Paul
Pierce and Garnett,
and
they gave him everything,
and it didn't work out.
It might blow up in their face again. But they do have Kevin Durant this time, which is
the one thing that makes me not believe this is going to blow up in the Nets' face is because when they made that trade for Paul Pierce and Kevin Garnett, they were past their prime. And I think Kevin Durant and James Harden are still in their prime.
They're in middle to Harden's 31. I don't know about Durant.
Durant's only in his 13th season. So NBA-wise, like...
both of them at the same age.
And think about it. Kevin Durant will never have to always be super athletic if he shoots the lights out.
Yeah,
so he's got longevity going forward. I think it's gonna look really good for the Nets once they get the chemistry down. I want to see them actually play a contender with them at full force. I'd like to see Kyrie Irving in the mix, just so I can kind of gauge with my eyes if it's going to work or not. Because so far we've seen when Kevin Durant and Kyrie play together, they work. When Kevin Durant and James Harden play together, it works.
The only thing I see with the three of them is you got two guys that like to dribble a lot.
Yeah.
And then the other guy can shoot really good. So
You're
I
right.
don't know how the dribble they did a thing where I think it was like an NBA Live or whatever. They had this is what the season's going to look like. Yeah, dribble, kick it to KD and shoot it.
That's exactly right.
That's probably about right.
They're going to have to also figure out working with each other how exactly they're going to put, like, how I'm trying to say this is who's going to have the ball at the end of the game when the game's on the line. They got to be okay with maybe designating one guy saying, in crunch time, it's going to be that guy. And I think everybody at this table can agree it should be Kevin Durant at every moment. At every moment.
You can look at James Harden in the playoffs, and he just when the game time's up, the real game, not just the regular season, he just kind of falls flat.
But what is also crazy about this is the Nets are probably one of the few teams that really all three of those guys can hit a game winner at any moment.
Oh, yeah. Kyrie
Irving can hit it.
it.
James Harden can hit it. And we know Kevin Durant can do it at the same time, too. So, to me, the dynamic of it, everybody's just saying, man, I don't know if they can just throw this talent together and it just work. But, damn, that's a good problem to have.
It's a good heavy three, but they might fall into the same thing the Heat did, that they're just all three and no bench.
I could see them probably falling short in their first year. Mm-hmm. And I don't have any problem with that because we saw the Heat do it. I mean, sometimes it doesn't always just click immediately. But with that much firepower and that much talent, it would not surprise me if they made it out of the East and made it to the championship in their first year.
That's like the Heat did. Most of the people was predicting that.
I could see him doing it. The only question mark I have about them, and I know it's a shooter's league, but I don't know about what kind of production they're going to get down below in the basket. That's it. Defensive-wise, James Harden and Kyrie Irving are not playing the best of defense, and Kevin Durant, he plays very, very good defense. But at the same time, if you get someone that's a little bit bigger than him down in the post, they're just going to back him down. So it's going to be interesting to see how this season plays out for the Nets. And really, I'm going to be honest with you, this trade couldn't have come at a better time because really nobody was keeping their eye on the NBA. I hate to tell the NBA, I think it was smart that they started in December, but at the same time, I personally was not paying attention to it because we still had playoff football right here, and we had the college football bowls and playoffs to worry about. So when the beginning of the season was happening, nobody was really watching. 6, 7, 10 games in, I usually don't pay attention to the first 15
I think
to
most people
20
don't
games
really
anyways.
pay a whole lot until
about the All-Star break.
Yeah, and they will watch Christmas just because that's what's going to be on TV.
Yes.
And then come All-Star game and after, then everybody starts tuning in. Football's completely over, and then they have their time. So I definitely think with as weak as we still talk about the East being weak. Mm-hmm. They're still weak. Boston, Philadelphia, Milwaukee, you see what they did last year. They're just they might finally get of age, but I don't know about them. They lost to Brooklyn the other day.
I know. And at some point you would think Milwaukee would get over the hump with Giannis. You would think. Because he's such a super talent. The only problem is he can't shoot worth a lick. He pulled up from 3 in transition and airballed it. That was hilarious. I was like, my goodness, what are you doing? So to really, I think the favorite is the Nets. Truthfully, I think it is. But when people say that the East is still weak, I think slowly every year it's just getting a little bit stronger. The more that you see players that are all on these teams out in the West move to the East, I think it's just making a little bit. I'm not going to say quite as strong as the West because the West obviously still have the Clippers and they have the Lakers, and Golden State, if they were at full force, would still be a mismatch.
And they beat the Lakers the other day.
They did. And I'm just saying though, the East is slowly catching up to the West, at least talent wise. Now the teams at the bottom are still the teams at the bottom.
First five teams in the top are pretty equal.
I could say so. I think the one spots, but see, this is what's so weird though. Right now, obviously, with the trade being so new and them not being able to play the full first 8 to 10 games that they've already played, right now Brooklyn's sitting at like the 4 spot. But by the end of the season, I think they're the 1 seed or the 2 seed.
Well, they're 1.5 out.
Yeah. I mean, like the Hornets the other day was like 2 shots out of the first
Now
until they dropped 3 in a row.
And now they're out of the playoffs. 2 of their 6 wins are also against Nets and the
Mavs.
Mavericks, yeah.
Yeah.
And the
Unbelievable.
Mavericks came to town and stomped them in the
ground. And they have played well this year. The Hornets have played well.
Well, I think what's made the Hornets, if we transition over to the Hornets now, I think Gordon Hayward is probably the best, free agent signing maybe in Hornets history outside of Dwight Howard. Seriously.
Because they haven't never signed anybody.
Mason,
that's what I'm saying.
Mason, maybe.
I'm just saying, like, with what he's bringing in and the production.
Or did we trade for him? I don't know.
With the production, I mean, if you think, was Al Jefferson a free agent signing? Or was that a trade?
I think he
played good when he was here. That was a good. He played good when he was here.
He's only had like 1 game where he scored like 12.
Because to me, that was the best Bobcats going into Hornets that I'd seen. Was when Kemba Walker and Big Al, and then when Dwight Howard came in, ran the pick and roll, and it was really successful. And Big Al was just so big, he was scoring everything in the paint.
Well, I haven't read it yet, so I'm gonna be with you guys with this.
Mm-hmm.
The 5 best free agent signings in Charlotte Hornets history.
How recent is that? Because it might not include
October. Back into Bobby Fields.
It was in October.
Okay.
Marvin Williams was number 5.
What?
Mm-hmm.
That's horrible.
He's number 5.
That shows you how bad our free agent signings are.
He averaged 7 points, 5 rebounds. That's LaMelo Ball.
He's playing better than that now.
Bobby Fields.
I figured Fields would be on there.
Johnny Newman.
Johnny Newman was good. You got about Eddie.
He had a career high 17 points.
Guy we got from the Lakers.
Eddie Jones was one of my favorites.
Yeah, surely.
Al Jefferson's number 2.
Mm-hmm.
Eddie was a trade with Glenn Rice, wasn't it?
Was he? He came from the Lakers, though.
He went to Miami.
Did he?
And then we traded. Didn't we trade Rice back to Miami for him?
I didn't know that, but that's possible about that.
David Wesley is number 1.
Yeah, he was really good shooter
on their signings.
That's not a bad. Gordon Hayward's got to be.
I think when it's said and
he
done,
already jumped over Marvin.
Who'd you just ask me about?
Eddie
Jones. Okay, go ahead.
I keep thinking.
I think just
Eddie House, but
when it's said and done, Gordon Hayward will be the best free agent signing. And it's just
should have been here the first time.
It's just because he finally gives Charlotte something that every team needs, and that's some sort of wing scoring. That's what he is. He's a wing scorer. He's a 6'8", small forward or small power forward, wherever you want to put him.
Who is?
Gordon.
Yeah,
Gordon. And
he's actually bigger than people think he is.
Yes.
He's not
a
small dude.
He was skinny when he was obviously at Butler, but in the first few years he was with Utah. But once he learned what a weight was...
Tanner, this has to. Sorry, I asked him to send me a picture earlier to go on our press passes.
Yeah,
he sent me a picture of him in a hoodie and a hat. So my response was, I need a photo like a driver's license or graduation picture. Then he sends me a picture with his sunglasses on. Tanner, we have to be able to identify you.
This is a professional press pass.
Do you not have any glamour shots?
No.
We're going to put you on this wall over here before you leave.
That's what we've done to everybody. That's what we've done to everybody so far.
But
go ahead.
I just think when it's said, you're right. He is bigger than people think. He learned what a weight was and actually put on a lot of size in his later years in Utah. And he is a big man. He really is. I mean, he might not be the crazy athlete that some guys are at that size, but he's damn good and he's damn big.
All right, Zach, I got it backwards. It was for Glenn Rice, but it was the wrong direction. Rice went. Remember when he went to the Lakers and he was with there with Karl Malone and all.
He was, wasn't he? Wow, and they still were horrible.
They still lost.
That's unbelievable.
You know who else was in that trade? B.J. Armstrong and J.R. Reed.
Reed was with us multiple times.
So we traded the All-Star MVP, Glenn Rice.
We ever had.
Mm-hmm.
J.R. Reed, our number 1 pick from like 5 years before.
B.J. Armstrong.
And B.J. Armstrong for Eldon Campbell and
I remember that.
And Eddie Jones.
Eddie Jones played really good for us, though.
Jones was Kobe's mentor before. They had to get rid of Eddie Jones to let Kobe play. and Jones could play.
He could play.
He was the ball. He's one of those create your own shot guys that wasn't the best in the league, but he's the second or third, like Vince Carter, like maybe third or fourth best shooting guard.
He was
in the
a little
league
better.
thing.
He was a little better. Kendall Gill.
Yeah,
too, you know.
All right. I'm sorry. Where's y'all going with that for?
We were just talking about how they played fairly decent this year.
Yeah, we were just we had transitioned obviously from all the Brooklyn talk to the local team, Charlotte,
they played decent.
and I will say this: they play competitively.
They
don't have to be wow. They are a highlight right now. It's what all the young kids like, and that's what ESPN and Fox Sports and anybody that does highlight reels love. So, if anything, this is probably the first year in 20 plus years of Charlotte basketball, whether they were the Hornets or the Bobcats, that they've actually been interesting or
they would put
kind of fun to watch
if it was open. You know.
Oh, if you could get tickets, absolutely.
It'd be a
if you could go in there, I think people would be there.
I think it'd be rocking.
Hornets are 23rd in scoring offense right now.
About just outside middle of the pack.
Defense, however, they're 8th.
And I think they're going to have somebody possibly come maybe in that 6-man conversation if they continue to pop points off the bench like they have.
Bench play has been really impressive for them. I think it does help that LaMelo comes off the bench because then they have someone who can actually kind of facilitate and move the ball around off the bench. That's something that a lot of teams don't have. The first team is always going to go out there and put the points up, but if you don't have anybody coming off the bench that can at least get you 10 to 12 apiece, then you're going to really struggle. And it is nice if you do have one guy off the bench that comes out, pops off for 20-something points
I'm
a game.
thinking that I might be wrong, but I always wanted, since this happened, was to get rid of Terry Rozier, and I think letting him stay on the Hornets has helped them if they want to move him because he's playing really good. It's making his trade value go way up.
I agree. I can agree with that.
I think what they do with him is wait till
LaMelo kind
close. No. I think they're going to wait till close to. I think it's what I would do is I would wait till close to trade deadline and see if anybody has any injuries because you have 16 playoff teams. Somebody's going to want a backup point guard or they can get some buckets. So Rozier would be a good fit in a lot of places in playoff wise. He's just one of the three ain't a good fit in Charlotte. LaMelo is on a rookie deal and he was picked third. So he's not going anywhere. Devontae Graham is a second round diamond in the rough that you shouldn't get rid of anyway. And the other guy's making $20 million. Yeah. He's the odd man out.
I agree.
mean, plus he's not. If he was 6'6", he'd be the shooting guard, but he's not. So
he is tiny.
He's a little.
That's the problem. Like when they have him and Graham out on the floor, it's a defensive mismatch. First of all,
what about Melo? What if it's Melo and Rozier on the floor? It's light up the scoreboard for the other team. Like who are they? Who are those two guarding? Nobody. Right. Not a single person. And I just that's what's maybe a problem with them. I don't know. So there's your any other NBA stuff.
If you do move off Terry, though, what do you try and get? You try and actually get a draft pick, or do you try and get maybe someone that can actually start over Biombo at the center position?
I want a power forward center guy. Miles Bridges has played well this year, but
I would just want a first round draft pick. Because if you start asking for other players, then that draft pick gets worse. So I want the best damn draft pick. I want somebody who's going to be in the lottery. Like, hey, I want your Wizards pick, or you know what I mean? Like, I know you're going to be in the lottery, and I want a top 13 pick. But the problem is his contract at $20-something million. Most teams are over the salary cap.
They can't eat that without.
So you can't get rid of that until the summer. So do you wait? Do you keep him the whole year? And then get rid of it then for a draft pick, or do you do it now at the trade deadline when some teams need him for their playoff run?
I'll say this. I think if you keep Terry on the team, though, you're pushing yourself out of what you would say is a great draft pick. Because right now, I can sit here and say they're at least competitive in the East.
But they're in the lottery right now.
Yeah, but what pick are they picking in the lottery?
Well, 12 or 13.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying, to me, in the NBA draft, if you don't have at least one of those top 5 picks, any of them could go anywhere.
I think this year was one of the better years that so far that I've saw of the top 10 being decent.
Well, they at least play their role.
They haven't had no big stud that showed out yet.
There's not been one person out of this draft that's just popped like how Zion did or or Ja did last year. But that was the knock on this draft class this year. They said, look, you're going to get a lot of good players, but I don't know if anybody's got that star quality in them.
It never fails for us as the Hornets. We always get a high draft pick, and we either flub it or we get
James Wiseman isn't playing great right now. Anthony Edwards is playing decent.
He's leading the rookies in scoring.
Who is this? The guy that was number one?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a half a point more than LaMelo is in scoring, I think. And Wiseman is right there with them. I think they're all at 11.
Mm-hmm. I forgot about this, Zach. Oh God, we're gonna have some fun a little bit. You're gonna lose your mind. All right. Anything else on basketball?
No. It's weird. Obviously, with football closing down, we'll have more basketball to talk about. But while it's still the first 10 to 15 games in the season, there's nothing really crazy happening. Teams are just trying to figure out who they are.
All right. So last year was one of the wildest, if not the wildest, quarterback carousel seasons we've ever had. Remember the start of the season, we counted up like 16 different teams basically could have a new quarterback.
Yeah.
This year, it may be getting to the same point. A lot of teams are going to be moving on to players. We're going to count the teams that could possibly, let's just say possible. Mm-hmm. Not that we know.
Are you talking about just having a new starting quarterback?
Right. You could this team could possibly have a new quarterback next year.
Because
whatever circumstance is in your head. So if I said, the Steelers, Roethlisberger is going to be the quarterback, right? So or the Packers. So they're not changing quarterback.
Right.
The Bills ain't changing from Josh Allen.
No.
All right. Miami Dolphins.
Maybe.
Patriots.
Yes.
Jets.
Maybe.
Cowboys.
Maybe.
I'm gonna do this. 1, 2, 3. Giants.
No.
Eagles.
No.
It's according to which one you're talking about.
Well, they both are already on the team. They both played, so I said no. I think it's either going to be Carson Wentz or Jalen Hurts.
Well, that's what I mean. A quarterback not on the roster.
Right.
Oh, okay.
That makes y'all
feel better. So then that makes it easier when we get to one team for me.
Okay. Washington.
Yes.
Baltimore.
No.
Cincinnati.
No.
Cleveland.
Nope.
Pittsburgh.
Good possibility.
No. They're not going to replace him. He had to retire.
There was some rumors out there that they might cut his butt, but you couldn't do that to Ben.
No.
Maybe
because
not.
of the cap number that's coming out on him. It's like it's unbelievable.
I'll say this: maybe not this year, but I'd say maybe.
I think it's an
year.
Eli deal. It's an Eli deal. I don't think
how has that worked out for the Giants.
I know. I agree. You can't. You got to let him ride off. Same thing with Steve Smith. You got to let him ride off. Same
thing with Drew Brees. Hunter don't agree with me, but all the other old quarterbacks, if you can throw for 4,000 yards, I'm not going to put in a 20-year-old and hope he can. I'm going to put your old ass in there and know you can.
No.
Yeah.
I don't look at it that way.
You can have
because
Daniel
I look at
You
it.
can have Daniel Jones for 5 years. You can have Eli finish his career for 5 more years and get the same exact thing. How about the front office? Put some help around the old guys.
But then you're just prolonging the 5 years of you trying to find something that works. That's how I feel with.
But he's won a Super Bowl.
I know, but eventually
you don't keep people out the room that wins for you. Like you like the Browns. Like we've had all these years of misery, and then we're going to sit here and talk about. Y'all know what we should do?
We get rid of Baker.
Let's get rid of the quarterback. Fuck what?
No, I would.
We had 17 quarterbacks.
I'm looking.
19.
Barney Kosar.
19.
I'm looking, and I'm saying this. So I got Eli Manning in the house. Okay, is he winning us a Super Bowl? No.
Yeah, maybe.
At this time, no.
How do you know that?
Hell no. We've seen it. He was leading the league in interceptions the year prior.
So?
It was apparent. You could watch it. It was on a downhill turn. So do we want to keep paying him this much money, or could we just go ahead and try and find the future? I was born in '96.
So you're 6 years old when Trent Dilfer won the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
If Trent Dilfer can win a Super Bowl, anybody can win a Super Bowl.
Not now.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Peyton Manning, when he won his Super Bowl, did he play outstanding in either one of his Super Bowls? No.
The first one he played decent, better than he did in the second one.
Brett Favre's Super Bowl. Who was the MVP of the Super Bowl? The kick returner. Okay?
I'll say
the kick return. How bad do you got to play as a quarterback to win the game and the kick returner is the MVP? Like they just don't give.
That might have been
Listen,
96.
I'm just looking at this.
96.
I'm just looking at this from a business standpoint. We're going to be paying him X amount of millions of dollars, or we're going
you can get a pay cut if you want.
Well,
I wouldn't argue with that.
They're in the same boat.
Can't
that
give him
everybody
$35 million.
that has this,
Can't pay anybody $35
They're in
million.
the same
No, I
boat.
know. I'm just saying, like, if you were looking at Eli at the time and you could tell that it was declining, because think about it, they see this guy in practice every day too. It's not just on game day. So the coaches know and the general managers know more than we do because they see him every day.
Listen, if you're, my point is, if you're going to replace him, you better have the replacement there ready.
Oh, well, that helps.
Not like get out the door. Man, I hope this guy does good.
I mean, that helps.
It runs into the same thing we've seen year after year after year with
But they
your
did that,
veteran
though.
quarterbacks. It happened to Montana. It happened to Peyton. It happened to Brady, even though he was a free agent. They're looking at, this is what we have. We're looking for the future. And they did, not even football. It happened in basketball with Jordan. And I'm with Kevin on, I would let them finish their career out. Same thing with Steve Smith. I would rather them finish their career out and we start over then, just to have them in that jersey for a whole time.
By Panthers cut Steve Smith. Did they win a Super Bowl?
No.
Did it make them better?
Well, I never
It
agreed with
just
that.
helped Cam's ego, and we see how good he
didn't
is.
do
He's not going to be a
anything.
Hall of Famer.
But I'm not talking about wide receivers. I'm talking
Yeah, I
about
know,
the
but I'm
quarterback
saying
position.
It's still the same.
And I'm just saying, with 25, that's whatever you were paying Eli at the time, and he wasn't going to get you to a Super Bowl. It was time to go ahead and look for the replacement that you can at least have on what so far has worked and has been the new mantra of building up your defense and putting pieces around you with a quarterback that's on a rookie contract.
See, I would rather do this. If you're going to draft Daniel Jones, sit his ass on the bench
I think they did that first.
until he can beat me out, because you've got Daniel Jones' record, Hunter, is 8-18. So that's what it's got him. So what did cutting Eli Manning get you? 8-18, and whether it's Daniel Jones' fault or someone else's fault, that's not the idea. My thing is that what's the point of getting rid of a 2-time Super Bowl champion just to bring in a rookie who may or may not be any good until he, like, if you see him beating him out in practice, like you see Aaron Rodgers beating Brett Favre or Steve Young is obviously more athletic and throwing the ball better in Montana at that point. If you see that, yeah, you can make that decision. I'm with you. You I don't know. You haven't seen Any Given Sunday, have you? You know, Willie Beeman comes in, the old man's done, and that would be a good movie for you to watch, Hunter. It's all about replacing the old quarterback up. What was his name? He's got brothers that are actors too. He's been in all kinds of stuff. The quarterback. Shit, I'll find it in a minute. But anyway, I don't like replacing quarterbacks unless you know what you got. Is my own point of, other than
Not
let's
Quaid,
go
is
with the
it?
young guys. Yeah, that's it, Dennis Quaid.
That's what I was thinking.
All right, Hunter, we were kind of going through where we were going through.
It's tough. Like,
Bears.
Yes.
possibly.
I
need a yes, maybe, or no.
yes.
Detroit Lions.
Maybe.
They should
Maybe.
get something for him.
Maybe.
Minnesota Vikings.
No. They got too much money in Kirk. They just
his
signed an
extension
extension.
Did they? I was going to say
They signed
it should
an
be about
extension
over
last
It's
now.
like
year.
2 years, $60 million.
Yeah, they signed it last year.
Texans.
Yes.
I pray it's the
Colts.
Yes.
Jaguars.
Yes.
So the only quarterback coming back to the AFC South next year is going to be Ryan Tannehill. Make that bet 2 years ago and see how rich you get.
Let me double check and make sure he's not a free agent.
I don't
Wait,
think
to-
he is.
to-
I think
to
he,
where?
I think he's on.
Oh.
I think he's on an extension too, Hunter.
Maybe he might have.
Falcons.
Yes.
Y'all are not replacing him.
No, you got too much money in him.
Panthers.
I'm gonna say no.
According to what happens with Watson,
Saints.
say maybe.
Yes.
I think it's a yeah.
Wait,
he
no,
might
no,
be
I'm
on,
sorry,
he might
no,
be
no.
on the team
I
already.
think, I think it's Jameis.
Okay.
I do think it's Jameis over Taysom Hill. I think it is.
Tampa.
No.
Denver.
Yes.
No Kansas City. Raiders. Quarterbacks on the roster.
Possible.
Chargers. Quarterbacks on the roster. Arizona. Rams.
No.
Sean McVay came out
came
and
out-
said,
yeah, he's
and
evaluating
evaluating everything, even the quarterback position. So
You gonna put a maybe?
I'm gonna say maybe,
Okay.
but I'm leaning more towards of a no, maybe.
All right. San Francisco.
Yes.
Possible.
Okay. I'm gonna put a maybe on that one.
Yeah, because They're
So,
in up for the Watson trade.
By our random, unofficial scientific count here on KTC, Tanner, that's 7 teams will have a new quarterback. 6 teams are thinking about it. So you're looking at close again to half the league thinking about it, where they're going to go.
About 13. Jeez. Whew.
Well, I want to real quick. Who's got the most? Let's say I want to say who
I
I
think
think.
cap wise, the Jets have the most, if I'm not mistaken.
I was going to say that wasn't where I was going. The most to gain. I want to, and this is what I mean.
Washington.
2020 regular season.
If you put Deshaun Watson on that Washington team
That's the best team in the NFC East, and maybe the second or third best team in the NFC.
with the defense,
Mm-hmm.
they're good.
I promise you this.
They're good.
I promise you.
All right, so now
Got a
we're
good
going to do. Remember last year when a reporter asked Bruce Arians if they could win with a different quarterback?
He said, I'm winning with this one. So
we can
yeah.
win with this one. I can win with any quarterback.
Yeah.
Basically, it's kind of we don't know the exact words.
Oh, wow.
But that's what he said talking about James. So, what I mean by that, going into next year, I want to look at top 10 defenses that might be getting a new quarterback. Okay.
Changes. If
I'm sitting here trying to think of top 10 defenses that need a quarterback, and the only one that pops in my mind is Washington.
I know Washington's there.
The number 1 defense in the NFL. We just
No,
wrote
with the
down.
Rams, that's a maybe.
Rams 1. What about Deshaun Watson on the Rams? Rams 1. Washington 4th. Miami 6th. They had the
Surprising.
sixth best defense and 10 wins this year.
Yeah.
With Fitzmagic.
And y'all probably
And
heard
Tua.
the same thing. The players are not sold on Tua, and they were not happy when
I've heard
Fitzmagic was
reports of
set.
that, and then I've also heard reports that the general manager and head coach are behind Tua. But
They
at the
are.
same time, that's almost you got to say that out loud.
Patriots 7.
I thought they had a quarter. Oh yeah,
that's
it came out
interesting.
Giants and Colts 9 and 10.
That's interesting. The Patriots are 6th because of how many opt-outs they had on the defensive side of the ball.
So they're going to have a top 5 defense next year, probably.
Should. That's
Who is
usually
this?
with
New
Bill
England.
Belichick.
Oh,
They
yeah.
should.
With nobody on
they're
offense.
not really going off.
The problem is they can't score. They're like Washington. They just can't score.
That's because they took the guy that they should. Again, everybody was so upset that we lost him, and I'm like, okay, we didn't need him.
All right, so let's look at Deshaun Watson and Phillip Rivers real quick. Watson, it seems like every team in the NFL that we mentioned there, we could talk 13 different possibilities on what to do. Zach was mentioning this morning about possibly the Panthers. If you're Houston, you're basically got to figure out what you want and whatever your demands are, because each team's going to be totally different demands and what you're willing
And
to
I
give
think you
up.
might have to make money fit too, possibly.
Well, no, not this year, which is
No.
Watson is only getting paid $10 million this year.
Okay, so he's not under that 40 yet.
Next year he gets 37.
I knew it was around 40. Yeah. Why is
So-
it 10 this year? Is
Just the way they structured it and
Somebody
wrote it out.
It's got to bite a bullet
So,
on that cap.
So-
but the Texans have got to get out of it
But-
because
but-
they're cap stricken.
but what everybody's saying is that because of that, it makes his contract easily tradable. Because then I can trade for Deshaun Watson. I get 1 year of Deshaun Watson. Think about if you're Washington. I could get 1 year of Watson and then spend my whole cap on my defense.
you're at 27 million?
And then
if you
or,
had
or your
that,
whole
you know.
draft on your defense and the rest of your cap. Let's say of the 37, that's how you got to count it because
Yeah.
you can
Right.
backload the contract.
What I was thinking.
So this year you could spend 10 on him
27 on.
and then 27 on other players plus your draft.
yeah.
So that's why it's a very, very big tradable commodity. Like, you sitting there, you got New England and Miami, and Miami really has the best position of anybody if they really wanted them.
They got a quarterback and they got the draft capital.
I can give you 2 and I can give you
Quarterback.
Tua. Hell, I'll give you Fitzmagic too.
I'd give you Tua and next year's first round for him. I mean, he's already proven.
That's
I think
that's
What would
high.
You
but
think
that's
it's steep? How many times you swing and miss on a quarterback? That's the biggie.
right, and I agree with you.
Oh, well, that's why I
a
heard-
known MVP commodity is different than
The rumor
I
was
was-
the rumor was today they wanted 3 first rounders.
plus Tua.
that was
That's
that
different.
was the draft.
If it's
pack
just
prices.
if it's just 3 draft packs, I can give it to them.
Listen, I've heard this too.
Because if they
I'm
don't,
gonna miss on one of them anyway.
Jay Glazer
Right.
in an interview said, if I'm Urban Meyer, I'm picking the phone up in Jacksonville. And I'm saying, look, as great as, and this is what he said, and I agree with him.
I asked y'all Saturday.
And I agree with him. I agree with him.
I don't think
when you sit there and think about it, he makes a very good point. Jay Glazer said, as great as we think Trevor Lawrence can be, we think it.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know
I
it.
know.
We know what Deshaun Watson
awesome.
is. We know what Deshaun Watson
Hunter's
is.
making the same argument I made about the old guys for the young guys, or I mean for Deshaun Watson.
Well, Deshaun Watson's only what, 24?
I know.
25.
I'm not 25.
know
I'm not
maybe.
trading. I'm not doing it if he's 35. Hell
I'm
no.
saying I know Drew Brees is going to throw 30 touchdowns, throw 4,000 yards next year.
Maybe.
Jameis Winston,
Maybe.
he might throw that, but he won't throw 40 interceptions.
right? Jameis Winston,
He gonna throw 6,000 yards and 40 interceptions.
He
not
got
push-
his eyes fixed.
I'm not pushing out. I'm not pushing out what I know for something I don't know.
He hadn't had a chance. The one pass he threw this year was a touchdown.
I know one thing. He could see to eat that W.
Yeah.
Like when they played Tampa Bay last
I
time.
believe, seriously, if you're a quarterback on the market and you think you've got some game left, the 2 best possible places for you is the Rams and Washington.
Patriots.
If you want to deal, you have to look, though, at the same time, is somebody going to be fine just to deal with Belichick? If you can eat that dealing with Belichick, then yeah, absolutely. But I'm just saying, if you want to go in, like you said, to top 5 defenses in the league, really the one that's most attractive is the one
4
is
of the
the
top
Rams.
7 are looking for quarterbacks.
I'm telling you, the most attractive one, I hate to say it, is the Rams.
And in fact, Hunter,
because Sean McVay.
if Big Ben and Breeze were to retire, 6 of the top 7 would be looking for quarterbacks, with the Ravens the only one. So,
Well, I think the Saints could do it if they're not sold on Taysom. For some reason, Sean Payton, I heard this in an interview with somebody that talked to Sean Payton. I think it was Peter King. Sean Payton thinks that Taysom Hill is like Steve Young. I'm like, what? Why?
I'm still stuck on the Urban Meyer thing. Y'all, I wanted to ask y'all a question on that. Do you think there's any possibility that Deshaun Watson gets traded straight up for just the number 1 pick?
could
I mean, is that enough capital to get him?
they would
Number-
probably have to do 2 ones.
You could probably do this year and next year's one, but if I'm the Texans and I'm looking at it saying, well, we're getting a ready quarterback in the draft in Trevor Lawrence, I mean, I would do it. Because this is what you're going to run into is it's better to at least have a quarterback than not have one who's sitting at home saying, I'm not showing up because I don't want to be
some
here.
of our
Think about
fantasy football trades back in the day. It's a win-win for both teams. You know,
I think it is. And it's just
Some
because
people get butthurt.
I'd want either a 1st or 2nd round pick next year,
yeah, that's fine. And Jacksonville's got a 2nd pick in the 1st round anyway. So Why not?
or even take that one too.
the problem is
I want
that
that one and next. I want 3 picks.
the problem that Jacksonville will run into is when they're throwing picks around, technically the Jets have almost 5 first-round picks they could throw.
And Darnold.
Because of the picks that they got off of the Jamal Adams trade when they traded with the Seahawks. They've got so much capital that they could just throw. And this is maybe something that might work too, is apparently in an interview or a phone call that they were talking about with Deshaun Watson, he said he wanted to play for 2 coaches. If they hired one, it was either going to be Eric Bieniemy, who is still the offensive coordinator with the Chiefs. Nobody's has hired him, and they can't talk to him right now because he's working. Or Robert Saleh, who was the defensive coordinator with the 49ers, now is the head coach of the New York Jets. So I don't know how that's going to play out. The coaching carousel is going crazy right now, too, because apparently Josh McDaniels Sunday was with the Eagles for hours, and nobody else has talked to him. So I don't know what's happening there. He could blow up that shit if he really wanted to. The quarterback carousel and the coaching carousel is what's going to make everything so crazy. Dan Campbell being hired up in Detroit, I don't know what they're going to do. Is Stafford happy with that? Because think about it. If you're Stafford, you would have thought you would have pulled a Deshaun Watson years ago and saying, I'm mega talented and I don't know what
big fish in a little pond.
He's like, I'm mega talented and I don't know what the hell's going on here.
All right. I want to talk some quarterbacks.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So, of course, the question now is Phillip Rivers a Hall of Fame quarterback?
I don't think it's a no-brainer on that.
Fifth
one.
in
Yes.
yards, fifth in touchdown passes all time. I think he's fifth in win. No, not. I don't know win percentage. He was only 5-7 in the playoffs.
Got the ugliest throw motion, but
He made it work.
I loved him. I wish he would have at least won a Super Bowl or got there.
Oh, I agree.
All right, Zach, how many quarterbacks are in the Hall of Fame without winning the Super Bowl?
Marino. Is Kozar?
There's a couple in there. No, Kozar's not good. He was just a game manager.
Got Marino.
Warren Moon.
Yeah, good gracious.
Everybody
Forget about that.
That's the one. Is he not the one
If he would have
guy?
won some Super Bowls, he would be in the conversation to be the greatest quarterback.
Is he not the
of all
one
time.
guy nobody ever talks about?
He's
It's
forgotten
because he spent half his time in Canada.
And, well, and he played on a team that it doesn't exist
The
anymore.
Oilers.
Houston.
So, but for real, I mean, he's the original, if not the original. You know, I know Cunningham gets the original on that, but Warren came out right at the exact same time as Cunningham, didn't he?
He would have been,
and he went
I'm gonna say
USFL.
a little bit earlier. I'm thinking 84, 85.
He played 84 in the NFL. Moon did.
Gosh, he was good.
Moon finished 12th in passing yards in the NFL. Not counting.
He'd be higher than
not
that.
Not counting what he did in
because
Canada.
he didn't have his other ones. So I was like, I figured he'd be higher than that. I thought he'd be in at least a 60, 65,000
Well,
range.
he finished 6th, but
Total yards.
he's backed up to 12th now because
because of all
passing.
these. But it's a passing league now.
Right. So that's why I want to talk about some of these pass. This is yardage, is what I'm looking at, folks. Breeze is one with 80,000 yards.
And he said, did y'all see him standing beside Brady the other day?
He's so much
tiny.
smaller.
Yeah, he's tiny.
Brady's a big.
I think Brady's like 6'4".
Brady's 6'4", and Breeze like 5'11". Peyton Manning is third. Brett Favre fourth.
Who was second, Tom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phillip Rivers is fifth all-time yards. He's sixth is Dan Marino. Now, Zach, I was thinking about
He
this.
finished first when he quit.
Right.
So-
I was thinking about Marino playing in today's game. Like, and people don't get or remember, like, I'm going to see what your answer is. When do you remember or think they started running 3 wide receiver sets?
He was about the only one that he had.
Was it the Redskins, the first ones that started doing it?
Joe Gibbs
With
offense.
Ricky Sanders and Art Monk and them? Because that's the first ones I
Ricky
remember.
Sanders,
And
Art Monk, and then
Then another one was, Zach, if you'll think about it, is
the Rams came, but that was 90.
you talk about Flipper Anderson and Henry Ellard.
Yeah. Because they're even on Tecmo Bowl. Very good.
Right.
Three.
But for the most part, most teams, when they threw a pass, it was a 2 wide receiver set. Teams weren't coming out here in 4 and 5 wide. And then also, Hunter, what was funny, especially your Redskins, because they ran a lot of motion and did this, the wide receivers would go in a 3-point stance. You ever seen that? I think, I'm going to pull that up.
And you got the 49ers were running the West Coast way back in the day,
Right.
too.
So what I was going to say is what do you think about, Marino playing in a 4 wide receiver set?
If you throw him in there, he was a big guy.
It's like Jordan Duncan in the lane is how I want to compare it. Is like if he was playing today, nobody could stop that. But like think about Marino.
He never
and
had a
people don't
running
get
game.
if you only got 2 wide receivers and a tight end and a pass route, Hunter. Is that not easier to defend than 4 or 5 wide?
Yeah, because you can drop a linebacker along with
And
4
how many tight ends
defensive
back then
backs.
were
We're catching it like this? Nobody.
Nobody. So yeah.
Nobody.
He never had a running game ever. I can't even name you a running back that was on his team.
God, there still was one, and that was there for a few years.
I want to say that was at the end of his career. Mark Duper, I can remember Mark Duper,
Who's the running back?
wide receiver.
Trying
He
to
never
find-
did have anybody.
No. Okay. So what I was going to get at, he was really great, right? Who's just ahead of him in yards?
It's Phillip.
No. Oh yeah, that. I mean, never mind.
What
Somebody
I was trying to speak about right now.
ahead of
I'm
Joe
confused.
Montana.
Oh,
It was thinking.
I was talking about who was we just talking about?
Dan. We were just talking about Dan Marino.
Shit, I was talking about the wrong person. Damn it.
God. I'm so
At least he
confused
didn't
now.
forget- at least he didn't
Sorry,
forget his
different,
name.
different point. Joe Montana played the same number of years as
Marino?
Kerry Collins. And Kerry Collins has more yards. Joe Montana played with the greatest wide receiver of all time.
That's horrible.
So he's and so that's my best comparison of today's and yesterday's thing. Also, you know who's got more yards than both of those dudes in less years? The GOAT himself, Joe Flacco.
God dang it.
Joe Flacco is 19th all time in yards, ahead of Kerry Collins, Joe Montana, Johnny Unitas, David Craig, Boomer Esiason, Donovan McNabb, Matt Hasselbeck, Alex Smith, Jim Kelly, Cutler. Ryan Fitzpatrick is 30th right now. Fitzpatrick has more career yards
than career backup or career journeyman. I'll say that.
Fitzpatrick has more career yards now than Tony Romo, Russell Wilson, Phil Simms, Steve Young, Troy Aikman, Kurt Warner, Cam Newton, Mark Brunner, Steve Air McNair, Randall Cunningham. He has more yards than all of them people.
Nobody can say that.
He got benched too.
And nobody can say that Ryan Fitzpatrick can't throw the ball. Just sometimes he throws it to the wrong person. Hey,
is he the original Jameis Winston?
Yeah. Yeah, that was kind of like the running thing. Is like, yeah, he can throw the ball and throw touchdowns, but he keeps both teams in the game, and that's exactly what Jameis did.
Yeah. So Dan 6, Big Ben 7, Eli 8, Matt Ryan is 9th all time. Tanner, your Falcons quarterback is 9th all time in yardage, and you want to replace him?
He's got great wide receivers,
and you want to replace him with an Ohio State quarterback? Don't tell me you don't drink anymore. I know you do. Vinny Testaverde's 15th, Carson Palmer 14th, Fran Tarkenton 13th.
Dude, you want to talk about a wasted career with Carson
16th.
Palmer.
Yeah, Matt Stafford 16th. Carson Palmer's going to do the same thing's going to happen to Joe Burrow.
Carson Palmer, same thing's going to happen to Matt Stafford. Matt Stafford's going to continue to climb up that because every year he'll throw for almost 4,000 to 5,000 yards, and guess what? They won't win shit.
They have. I don't even know if they've been in the playoffs since Barry Sanders.
I think they made it 1 year and lost.
I think you're right. I think they did. I think they made it with
Matt Stafford's only made the playoffs 1 year, and that's because
did he make it?
I think he's made it 1 year.
I think
just once, and it was like barely, like at 8 and 8.
Was that like
the
first year or something?
I can't remember.
Seems like,
but
I
will say this: him not making it at all is a waste of talent.
I don't think.
Can you imagine if New England picked up the phone right now, which is something they should have done for Megatron?
He made the playoffs 3 years.
3 years?
Really?
Okay, so he's made it more than I figured.
And he lost them all. Of course.
Yeah.
He's 0-3 in the playoffs. They lost to the Saints, Cowboys, and Seahawks. In every 2 of the games, he had 300. Seahawks, he got
Saints, Cowboys, and Seahawks.
12.
Did you say he had 3
17.
touchdowns in every single one of them?
No, he had 300 yards in the first two, 200 in the second. The last game against Seattle, he was 200 yards, no touchdowns. No
I wonder what year was that? Was that against the Legion of Boom?
2017.
I think that was. I think Legion of Boom.
3 years ago. So he got the playoff. He's 0-3. And that's one thing. Again, I just told you about Flacco being ahead of Joe Montana. He's also 10th in playoff wins. So, like, everybody's saying, Lamar finally got his playoff win, Zach. He's got to do that 10 more times to tie Joe Flacco.
Yeah, and Flacco
10 more times.
Flacco wouldn't have threw it to the other team in the end zone, let him run it back when you're fixing to tie the game.
That's probably not. He'd have thrown it in the bleachers. He was really good at that. I always said Flacco's best pass.
Dang, it was just after. It was just after.
Rogers is the same way.
What?
He'll throw it away in a heartbeat.
Oh, yeah, but he hadn't done that much this year, and he hadn't thrown interceptions much this year either.
Kerry Collins is 20th.
Nah, Legion of Boom was until like 2015.
Giants, when he was with the Giants.
Titans, too. Didn't he go to Titans?
Who?
He was with the Giants.
Kerry Collins.
Maybe.
See, we thought as Panther fans that Tim Biakabatuka and Kerry Collins was going to take us to the playoffs.
Kerry Collins took a team to the Super Bowl.
There's Giants.
Just not the Panthers.
Wasn't it?
Yeah. That's who got beat by the Ravens. That's who got beat by Trent Dilfer. Think about that Super Bowl. Hunter, well, you sit there and have this argument all the time about.
That is a trivia question to keep.
You'll sit there and be like, can he win a Super Bowl? Can this guy win a Super Bowl? Well, fuck, Trent Dilfer beat Kerry Collins and won. I've seen it all.
And his career.
Stomping. It's like 31-6.
Team record.
27-9 or something.
Team record for Kerry Collins, 81-99.
Yeah, he doesn't have a good record.
No. No.
I'm looking at it too.
Nope.
He only
208 touchdowns to 196 interceptions. That's almost 1-to-1.
He only completed 60% on a full season one time in his career.
Completion percentage 55%.
State, wasn't it?
55% on his career.
Is he not Cam without the running? His passing kind of style.
He's
like
horrible.
It's not.
He was in Tennessee and he ended in Indianapolis in 2011.
He could throw the. He had a better. Cam can't throw the football. Cam throws the football up. It sells. That's all Cam does.
How did we get to where we are now? Phillip Rivers.
He was asking him.
That's what we were talking
Well,
about.
yeah, I wanted to compare him and talk about Hall of Fame and all that other stuff.
Here's
And
the
everybody
He's definitely
else.
Hall of Famer.
Do you think he gets in? I mean, we can sit here and say I think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a Hall of Famer. Does he get in? I don't know.
And he put them numbers up too with LaDainian in there.
I don't know. And I referenced Peter King earlier because that was the last thing I was hearing when I was coming down the road because Colin was interviewing him. And he asked him the question because Peter King obviously is a Hall of Fame voter. And Peter said, to me, yes, he's a Hall of Famer. And he says, the way I look at my Hall of Fame voting is I can't knock you in football if you've never gotten to a championship. He said, because it's hard to get there. He said, but if you win it, that just elevates you. You know, he said, I hold you to a higher standard. He said, but if you didn't get there, I mean, I can't knock you on what you did on the football field.
Let's think about this too, is Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers are tied at the hip, you know, going all the way back to that. They took Phillip Rivers over Drew Brees when they had them both on the team. Drew Brees hurt his shoulder.
Think about that. He could have been in Miami.
Breeze, Eli, Rivers, and Culpepper, and Saban got the worst of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Saban got the worst of it. Looking at the quarterbacks that haven't won a Super Bowl, Ken Stabler won 2 and hasn't got in.
He should be in.
He should be in. There wasn't anybody alive. When the word Fame Hunter, everybody knows who Ken Stabler was in the 70s.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Dan Fouts, Warren Moon, and Jim Kelly.
Sad for him. I didn't pull for him. I hate that for him, but he's a good quarterback. He's.
Well, let me tell you something. If anything, you made 4, just couldn't get over the hump.
Back to Bills teams, nobody hated those teams.
No, they had likable players.
Every one of their players, everything about Buffalo was likable.
Likable players. They had Thurman
I think
Thomas.
Buffalo's the same.
Defense,
I think
offense.
Buffalo's the same way this year.
Bruce Smith came out and he talked like Mike Tyson.
I know I'm a Josh.
He
I
had
know
that same,
obviously
like,
I'm a
he's gonna
Josh.
talk so gruff, and he's like,
Yeah, like I know
Like
I'm a
Lawrence
Josh
Taylor.
Allen fan. I'm a Josh Allen fan, but I look at this Buffalo Bills
I
team
got a
this year,
story
and
to
I'm
tell.
like, there's nobody on that team that would be hated by anybody. It's disliked.
I don't know how this came up, but I was watching a show the other day, and I don't know who the guy was that was playing with. Help me, Kevin, remember the really good defensive player that played for Minnesota. Randall was his name.
Chris Dolman.
John Randall.
John Randall. Chris Dolman's the defensive end
Dolman
before
was
him.
a beast.
Dolman's 3rd or 4th all-time sacks, or 5th, I think.
He's a beast. Now, Randall was talking about, this guy was like coming to be on their team, and he says, man, I was just enamored with Randall. He said, I had his pictures up all in my house. He said, man, I got drafted by the team. I got to take all these pictures down. You know, I can't have the guy I'm playing with, up above my bed. So I got to talk with him and stuff, and he said, we got to go out and we got to play. John Randall was talking about playing against Lawrence Taylor. Mm-hmm. And he said, Lawrence Taylor he came out, the only one. He didn't come out with the team. He said, Lawrence Taylor come running out of and he said, I mean, John Randall ain't no scrub. Like, he's awesome. Mm-mm. And he was like, he said, I thought I was watching, like Ali coming out of the thing. He said, the place went just completely ballistic. And he said, he would rip your head off on the football field. But thinking about the way he talks, man, it's just
You talk about, okay, Zach, think about this. If you were in a dark alley, say you're blind, or let's say in a room with eyes closed, and it's you and Tyson and Lawrence Taylor, and they're talking, telling they're going to kick your ass.
I'll rob you.
Do you feel like you're getting out of that room alive? Yeah. I'm saying if you can't see them, just 3
You
people in the
dead.
room,
Yeah.
and these
You
two talking shit to you. You're thinking, I'm about to cut these mugs.
Yeah,
Right.
you did.
This go easy. They better
Too
pack
bad
a lunch.
baddest man on the planet. Taylor was he in an era that he would destroy people today. He'd be kicked out of the league.
He was a mix of country. He was a mix of crazy.
He's awesome.
He was a mix of
He'd get kicked out of the league.
Of the old
Ronnie
school
Lott would get kicked
football
out of the league.
mentality. People would think Ronnie Lott is the most evil person of all time. The way they act today, because when you hit a quarterback and call us a concussion on him, and Twitter loses my, oh my God, the humanity. That was when I retweeted. I don't know who it was, Hunter, but go back and check my. It was yesterday. It was the DB or something. He hit a wide receiver, and they were talking about him on the internet, like how he was this awful up, and he's like, "No, I just hit hard."
So no, that's
That
what.
was- oh no, I just hit hard.
The guy that hit Mahomes.
Yeah,
He was getting like death threats and stuff, and people were like coming at his neck because I mean they think he was a dirty hit, and he basically said, "I'm not apologizing for it." He said, "I play football." Basically said, "I hit hard."
I would say 90% of the people who thought any of those hits are dirty never played, and that's the point. Is like these are supposed to be like when you start
Contact
micromanaging the yes, it's supposed to be contact sport. So you start micromanaging the contact.
Well,
whether,
replay.
whether we ducked our head, yeah,
And then
It's
you slow
replay.
mo it.
yeah. Well, let's slow mo it.
Yeah, they're like, let's look at it in real time, and then let's look at it slow motion.
Perfect example was Sunday, and it could have cost the Browns the game. The end of the half, the guy the guy gets hit helmet to
When he
helmet,
speared
Right.
him.
and the referee was watching what he should have been watching, where the ball was, and he missed the call. Based on the rules today, he missed that call.
And
They could have lost him the game.
It's not reviewable either.
No, he could have lost him the game.
But under the rules, it was against the rules.
I agree.
But I will disagree that I think it should be a rule.
I agree.
Once you're running, I don't care.
Yeah,
Once you
can't
cross
help-
the line of scrimmage,
You're trying to keep him from getting
Right.
touchdown.
once you cross the line of scrimmage, and we talked about this a couple Saturdays ago, Zach. I know you're on the Saturday show. I told him I don't think quarterbacks should be allowed to slide past the line of scrimmage. I don't think anybody should be. If you want to take a knee, take a knee. You can take a knee. Kick returners do it. But damn, the sliding,
Yeah.
it causes too many problems. It causes head-to-head contact what shouldn't be there. It causes
They can get hurt.
It's just yeah, and I just don't like the sliding at all. And once you cross, like again, that should have been a penalty based on the rules. I like the hit. If that's me, I'm doing the exact same thing.
80s, 90s football. It
All
was
he
net-
did,
yeah.
all he was doing was diving to try to keep him from scoring. Do you think when he
And it was
left his
effective.
feet, he thought, "I'm ducking my head
Right.
to spear him in the
Can't.
side of the head so he will get hurt"? No, you're just diving to stop that ball.
Yeah.
In fact, he was probably trying to hit the ball.
It
Yeah.
worked.
When somebody reached out with the ball, it's when you're diving.
and the
And
wide
it
receiver
worked.
was diving
Yeah.
to get in the end zone, so they were both same goal. Keep
Yeah.
one out, put one in.
Yeah, as far as the rule goes, I'll say it was against the rules, but I don't like the rule. And so, Zach, talking about how close these games were this weekend, just one play here in almost every game could have caused something. So let's talk about the Bucs Saints game. So I look at the score, Saints winning most of the game. Well, Bucs take the lead at 23-20. Well, at this point, Breeze had thrown 2 picks and Brady none. And then Breeze throws one, hits the receiver in the chest, he bobbles it, and the other team
Doesn't
gets
matter.
it. So at that point, so the narrative is Breeze throws a game-ending pick
When it wasn't his fault.
when it wasn't his fault, and then Brady wins another game when he only had 190 yards,
It's like Peyton Manning in that game.
and he didn't. So
Their defense played really
if
well.
Brady throws one pick in that game, they lose, right? If you're up 23-20 and you got an interception to win the game, that means you were barely winning, and you didn't have any turnovers. And the other team's got 4, and you're only up 3.
Yeah, which is not good.
Under all circumstances, under all stats, under all
should've won.
everything, Saints should have won that game, and they didn't. And now it looks like, Breeze got beat by 10, and I never think he should retire until he can't walk anymore. If you're that accurate, there's no point. I don't see.
I think I personally think he's done.
He's mentally or
No, when he walked off the field the other day, I don't know if you saw his facial expressions just in his mind, looking like he was taking it all in, sentimental, really upset with the way it ended for him, and then he walked off the field and he kind of give him on the chest, to the people, and I think it's I think he's at least 80% not coming back.
I could watch him throw a football a day. I would rather watch him throw accurate 7 to 20 yarders than watching
Jeff George throws 60 yards to
just
nobody.
throw it down the field. Just throw it down the field every time. Or think about it. Who's the kid in Philadelphia? Carson Wentz. Like, I would much rather watch Drew Brees throw 10-yard passes on threading the damn needle all day long than I would watch Carson Wentz throw it deep every play. The thing about Big Ben, if you go back, just watching that game, he was throwing some sick ass passes that his receivers missed. Now he threw some bad ones, which quarterbacks do, but and this is how a lot of times when I rate a quarterback, when I say I think he can play. And Hunter, if you'll remember this, maybe a year or two ago, about Baker. I'm like, he makes some bad passes and bad decisions, but by God, some of the passes he makes are ballsy, on the point.
Good one Sunday.
Exactly.
Like when you throw, there's certain passes you can see on the video. You're like, that dude can play. I'm just leaving that at that, whether it's receivers or not. But
I have no problem with Baker. If anything, he has proved this year, you put the right system around it and you put the right coaches with him, he can win. And I think we can all sit here and say that Freddie Kitchens was a little bit in over his skis when he had the head coaching position and things really weren't looking right. And the first year that Baker was there, dang, had Hugh Jackson and that mess that they were doing in Cleveland. So now that he has some stability, I think we can officially start Baker's evaluation this year.
I think they're in a spot. You know, the defense wasn't that great,
I think they're dangerous.
but they can be if they improve their defense and maybe some different play calling or something.
I told you what I thought Monday. Zach, I want you to see if you agree with me. I think the only thing that was holding Cleveland back this year, besides maybe their defense, is a lack of inexperience at the coaching position. It wasn't until they were already down in that game 19-3 and Patrick Mahomes had gotten taken out of the game, really, that the Browns realized, oh shit, we can really run the ball on Cleveland or on Kansas City, and they can't stop them. And the reason why I say that is because we saw it. Let me see, what was that? Was that like 2 or 3 weeks ago against the Jets? It's just the Jets game. They didn't have 5 wide receivers,
And they
still threw it 50 times. And I'm like,
with no wide receivers, we got
and Kareem Hunt.
With Chubb and Kareem Hunt. And so to me, I think that's just what it was. I think any coach was getting out-coached by Andy Reid in that moment.
Well, Zach, at halftime,
to me, it's just, I think Stefanski going forward, this was a learning experience.
At halftime, Nick Chubb had 5 carries, Baker Mayfield 1, Kareem Hunt 0.
And so that's what I mean.
And that's what I mean on the Jets planning. Under whatever planning that they did for 5 days for the Jets game and for this game, neither one of them should have been, let's throw it 50 times.
No.
Neither one of them should have been throw it 40 times. They really shouldn't throw it 30 times.
And Chubb's averaging, it's upwards of 5 yards a game.
The dude is
5 yards.
The dude is a straight baller. You know what he reminds me of? Finding the hole. He reminds me of Emmett. He walks through the holes where he finds that first 4 yards. Now,
and he's bigger.
But Emmett didn't have an extra burst once he got to that 15, like where you can't tackle me. Emmett shook the guy. Emmett shook that first move. Chubb is almost kind of either running through, trying to get past him, not shaking him. But what I mean is that Emmett, the key at running the ball is to find that initial hole. You get you 2-3 yards. Then the rest of it is on you to shake somebody, break a tackle, and move.
I think pure strength.
And he does a great job finding the hole.
I think pure strength wise, he might be, and there's no knock on this. He might be second in the league to Derrick Henry, but that's just because Derrick Henry's 6'3" and like 250 pounds.
It's a big old joker.
That's a. You're trying to bring down a tight end linebacker right there with the running the ball, and I think Nick Chubb is second. I think he's just as tough. I don't think he's shaking nobody like Kamara and McCaffrey and them.
He's got one slide. He's got a move. He's got a slide step, but he don't have He don't have a double move like Emmett or Barry or any of those.
But damn, if you go into think about it, he missed 6 games this year, and still got the amount of yards that he did, and averaging I think just over almost 5 to 6 yards a carry. In that Chiefs game, both him and Kareem Hunt, when they finally started touching the ball, were averaging over 5 yards a touch.
If they can get a receiver that's not nuts, like Odell. I don't like Higgins either. Every time he catches the ball, he spins it and starts talking shit. Like who?
Now I tell you what, you need
in life, like
you retain Jarvis Landry.
Yeah,
I think you have to.
He catches everything.
Njoku should be better than he is.
And Njoku he's interesting. He's very interesting. I
think Njoku, he knows he can be the man. The problem is they've got Hooper in front of him.
He reminds me a lot of a really, really talented tight end. I can't think of his name right now. He played for the 49ers. He was a high draft pick.
Oh, God.
He went to Washington. He was
Vernon Davis.
He reminds me of Vernon Davis.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
I think he's young and immature. Njoku. The things he said, he's asked for a trade already and things like that.
And then he stuck it out.
He stuck it and played well. I don't
know.
So they
That's
lost.
that's what
they
I mean,
lost by
though.
5, Zach, and they had a touchdown called back basically from the 1 yard, from the 1 inch yard. I mean, he wasn't this far away. He was this far. You could almost make the argument at the right camera angle he actually got in, but that's how close it was. So the Browns were technically this far from winning that game.
Because that cost a field goal on the other side too.
Yep.
Because they drove down and got
they
a field
could
goal.
have kicked a field. Well, that too, but even if the Browns don't score a touchdown, they kick a field
And
goal. And you
They made
down
an
2
argument too.
instead.
They made an argument too that, and this was from NFL players that was watching. They said you should never lose the ball. If it goes through the back of the end zone, they should put you back on the 20. Never give it to the other team.
That's what we were kind of talking about.
we
What
talked
should
about
the
that
rule be?
Monday.
20, 25, and lose it down maybe. Ideas on that.
I mean, that is very tough.
It's just a weird. It is a weird rule. I told Hunter the original thing was the runners back in the day. There's no, instant replay. They get hit at the 1, wouldn't get in. Well, if I'm being tackled by 2 guys, there's 3 linemen standing right there. I fumble the ball in the end zone. The lineman jumps on it and it's a touchdown. They wanted to stop that. So that was the idea behind that. But what I was saying is that this game was a 5-point game. They had a touchdown called back, and then with 4 minutes to go, they decided to punt with like 4th and 6 or something like that, or 4th and 10. And so at your strategy at that with 1 timeout and the 2-minute warning. Well, and here's the things in football teams don't think about. Well, if I punt it, what is my strategy? I have to stop you 3 and out, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's say all that works. I punt it, stop you 3, and you punt it back to me. Well, now how much time is going to be on the
You
clock?
ain't gonna have no timeouts.
Right. You're going to have no timeouts, maybe a minute left with no timeouts, and the ball in the exact same spot pretty much you are now if you punt it to them and they punt it right
And you
back
gotta
to you.
you got to have a touchdown.
Right? So now we're in the same spot
Less
with
time.
less time and no timeouts. So why not go ahead and go for it then to see why you control the ball? Then if you don't get it, what happens? You're up 5. If you hold to a field goal, you're down
Still
8.
1 touchdown. You still
Right.
a touchdown.
Because
Two-
the idea anyway was what? To force a 3 and out. So if you go for it and don't get it, you're still telling your defense, no matter what, you got to get a 3 and out, whether it's on that side of the field or this side of the field. And if you get it here, they kick a field goal attempt.
And
But
the
I don't
wind was
see-
bad there
I
too,
don't
so
see
that
any
ain't a
reason
given.
whatsoever you punt the ball down with 4 minutes to go.
I was at church. I had to go to church, so I missed.
You can't punt against the Chiefs. Even I know Mahomes not out there, but damn.
No.
I went to church and I looked, kind of snuck and looked, and I seen it was within 5. I seen Mahomes was out. I said, Cleveland's gonna win this game.
I thought we were. I thought we were just about to march down and get it,
So
make history.
It doesn't. I did very good in my picks this past weekend. 8-0, some would say, which is the truth. But
In 4 games, Zach, you went 8-0. It's a fuzzy
4
math right there.
picks, 4 on the wins,
What school did
got 4 on the spreads.
That's Bandy's math.
No, technically, Tanner, when you do picks and you pick winners, that's fine and dandy. But when it comes to Vegas and you want to win money, they don't just do pick'ems. You got to have the spread right. And so I hit 4 for 4 on the wins, 4 for 4 on the spread. So that's where on 4 games I got 8 right. Now, but besides that, I knew and figured Cleveland could keep it tight. And something inside of me was actually kind of getting a little bit excited. Not that Patrick Mahomes went out with an injury. I hate that.
Is this for kids?
Yes, it is for kids, for God's sake. But that
I'm
I
going
thought-
to check the box when I
I'm
upload it
just-
later. I just want to make sure we're going
Yes,
with
this is for what? Yes, I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I was getting a little bit excited because I thought, wow, Cleveland's going to do this. But then they punted on that 4th down, and I'm serious. I felt like that. That is another moment to me where I think it's Stefanski that was holding them back right here. The team was playing great. Your defense was playing outstanding, obviously, with Chad Henne being in there, and he wasn't really, of course, running the offense nearly like even a one-footed Patrick Mahomes was doing.
They're up 28-0 without that coach.
Yes, they were last week. I felt like that was just what held you back. Now, the pick by Baker early doesn't help.
You think we should just make Baker the player coach?
What is this, longest yard?
I don't know. I'm just saying. If the coach is ever
you
going
can-
to punt on 4th and 9 in a fucking playoff game,
With 4 minutes to go in a
and
game.
then 1 timeout.
Yeah.
I got
No.
1 timeout, boys.
No, if you get it, technically you'll have 2 if you're able to get to the 2-minute warning. And it's a free
And
timeout.
You still got a 3 and out 'em.
I'm just saying, it's
You
that was almost him lying down right there.
The fact
unless he believed in his defense that much.
The fact they won a playoff game already doesn't make me as mad. Like I would be kind of pissed right now because this is Jason Garrett type shit, Zach. That the punting and non-punting on fourth down in the fourth quarter when they're
going for a field goal when you're down 2 touchdowns.
When the Browns were, when they were winning the playoff game against Pittsburgh, every play, pass, run 28-0.
Yeah,
pass,
no run.
In fact, until they got within 2 scores, I would never throw another pass. Why? You could take
burn the clock up.
You know why?
We saw this.
Punt 3 times. Take 3 knees and a punt and waste 3 minutes.
People are gonna ask, well, why would you want to run the ball? We saw what the damn Patriots did to the Falcons in the Super Bowl because they didn't stop throwing the damn ball.
Right. Every time you stop the clock, it's basically you gave the other team
a free timeout, really.
A minute to come back. Because they're 40 seconds plus setting the ball.
So,
it's a minute. Like every time, guys, you know what? We're gonna throw the ball, and if we drop this, y'all get an extra minute.
As smart as these football coaches are, how can't any of them understand a fucking clock?
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Analytics have never come out in the clocks for some reason.
No.
They've got when to go for 2, all this other stuff. And about 4, 5, 6, maybe 10 years ago, I started. It's definitely at least 10 years. I always advocated Hunter, and I always thought it would be a good idea. What you said. Think about this. Tanner, you play Madden, don't you?
Sometimes.
I bet you, Andre, Hunter, myself, or all of us are better at time management
because of Madden.
Because of playing Madden. Because I've only got so many seconds. I've only got 5 minutes to score in a quarter.
Right.
And so you're and then most games end up in that 2 minute. You're taking timeouts, and these kids know it. Like, wouldn't it? Well, they spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on stuff. Wouldn't it be worth it just to pay some 16-year-old Madden expert $30,000 a year to say, go for it here? Like every 13-year-old player in the nation knows they shouldn't punt it with 4 minutes to go with a down and 1 timeout. Like what?
Hell, who punt?
with the 21st ranked defense, Hunter? This ain't top 10 D we got.
Who punts in Madden anyway?
You have 3 timeouts in the 2-minute warning. That's in play. 1 timeout, 2-minute warning. It's not.
Who punts in Madden anyways? Foot to the pedal the whole time.
Just silly. Well, Bills win 17-3. Zach, here's. And I was trying to explain.
That's a little bit more than it actually was.
I was trying to explain. I was trying to explain to Andre, but he didn't want to hear any of this. But NFL averages 24 points. If you hold the team under 24, you played good. If you give up more than 24, you played bad. The Ravens average giving up 18 a game. They gave up 17. So they played the number 1 defense played what they normally do. We're only giving up 17. But damn Bills defense came to play.
They did.
They gave up 3.
Now. In that
running quarterback,
but in that, if you think about it, I don't know if you guys watched it or not, but it was fixing to be a tie ball game. He threw the pick, and that goes back. It would have been 10-10. And it made it 17-3 ball game right then. When he throws that pick in the end zone,
okay,
you got a different ball game.
So Baker hadn't thrown a pick in weeks. He throws a pick. Lamar throws a pick 6 that changes the game.
That was a close game. It don't look like it was 17-3, but it was close.
Drew Brees throws a pick up 3 points. I'm going to say it and say it again. Every single time in the playoffs, defense and turnovers. Whoever turns it over best, pick your best defense and be like, man, these 2 quarterbacks, somebody's going to turn it over more. And you can almost look at every game, whoever turns it over more is the loser in all these games. So going up that championship round, Zach, I want your picks because me and Hunter will do our Saturday talking with Terry and Tom. We'll take from you and Tanner. We'll hear some from you and Tanner. Tanner, I'll go to you first. I got Bucks in Green Bay. Packers favored by 3, so push it.
Bucks.
So Tanner is going to take the Bucks.
I'm sticking with Green Bay because I picked them at the beginning of the playoffs.
So I thought the Saints were the best team in football. I still think they probably are, but 3 picks you can't win. Here's the thing, Bucks before that game last week was 1-5 against winning teams, and they won that one with all that help, all the help in the world need. Now, if I told you this week Brady's going to throw for $190 in Lambeau, is he going to win? So he threw for $190 this week and won.
He's not,
because Aaron Rodgers is going to throw 3 picks.
I think Rodgers and him will win by 4.
So I think Packers. I think this is the end of the line for Brady. I always thought next year was the year for the Bucks. It's hard to get everything together in a year. And everybody be on the same page.
They have started to play really good down the stretch, but Green Bay.
All right,
That
Zach,
must be tough.
do they circle the wagons in Kansas City? Bills in Kansas City. Kansas City's only favored by 3.
If Mahomes don't play, Bills is going to win that game.
So both these games are technically pushing.
That's
I haven't been big on the Chiefs, and I thought Browns had a great chance to beat them with or without Mahomes.
I had picked them to beat
them. Dodos run
them.
a speed option with him.
I thought they should have won the game.
Mahomes also apparently has a foot injury. He's just playing really on one foot.
Nobody's even talked about that yet.
No, huh?
Let's talk about his head more.
Yeah, but see that's why I don't know about you. But when I was thinking about this Monday when we were talking about it, I said I almost can't really pick this game until I find out what exactly is happening with Kansas City. Because
I want
like
Buffalo
you said,
to win either way.
I do too. I picked Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, but I'm gonna be honest, it'd be a whole lot more exciting if Buffalo got there.
I had a bad week as far as the teams I wanted to win and everything too. Like as soon as Rodgers or Mahomes wins the Super Bowl, we're gonna be talking, are they the greatest? While Brady's sitting there in the league with 6 rings still.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all have 2. I have 6. Like, this ain't even close right now.
And he just reigned for the last 20 years.
Right.
I mean, he did have a little help with that division being so bad, but they won when they got in the playoffs.
I want you to think about that.
Only Achilles heel they had was Ravens.
Does this not make Bill Belichick kind of look bad?
Oh, I thought about it the other day. I was laughing. I was like, yikes.
Because, I mean, he thought he was going to be able to find the quarterback and at least win with it. Cam came in, did not work out. And Tom is winning with Bruce Arians.
If Brady would have stayed with New England this year, would they have made the playoffs? They went 7-9 with Cam Newton being hot garbage.
Yeah, they probably win 10 to 11 games.
If they had
a good defense.
If they had Mike Evans and Antonio Brown and Leonard Fournette,
oh my gosh,
and Ronald Jones,
like if they actually had a good team,
and Gronk,
they probably. I'm serious. So in that division, they might get 13 to 14 wins.
What I'm saying is that how much do you say Belichick sucked as opposed to we just don't have a roster right now.
Yeah, but isn't Belichick the one that's supposed to be a part of everything with the draft picks?
But you can't. It's GM. Put it this way: GM Belichick failed, not the coach Belichick.
His defense showed up for him, which it usually does.
I would say the general manager Belichick failed. That's the Jerry Jones. Owner Jerry Jones is pretty damn good.
Mm-hmm.
General manager Jerry Jones is god awful. It's just stupid. So I'm just not a fan of Aaron Rodgers at all. Really, the Chiefs. I don't mind them. I like them. It's good seeing a team that hasn't won. I like new blood. I have nothing against Andy Reid. He's not a jerk.
I like watching Patrick Mahomes.
But again,
play.
You know what I don't like about him is the old. As soon as every year, like in college football, we'll say, "Is this the greatest quarterback ever? Is this the greatest team ever? Is this the greatest thing we've ever seen? Can we just? Oh, it's the greatest. We're living in the greatest time of our lives." Jim Thorpe didn't live, Zach. People like that, Hercules, fucking Michael Jordan. They weren't athletes. Muhammad Ali. But it's just the whole crowning. That's the thing I've had with the little LeBron. And
you gonna crown them? Crown them.
You don't crown them until it's over.
We know who they were.
We don't crown them till it's over. We don't crown them till we're done counting. You don't count your chips.
I said this Monday. It's the truth.
Pulling for the Buffalo Bills.
I am too.
I am too.
I am straight up pulling. I don't pull for a lot of these teams. I'm more like, man, I don't like that team. I'd rather that team win. That's the only one of them 3 teams. I don't want the NFC to have anything to do with that, Bucks or Packers. Chiefs I can live with.
I think the Bills deserve it.
I'll be happy. I'll be more happy with the Bills than anybody else.
I saw so many Bills outfits come out this weekend at work.
Yeah.
They were dressed to the T, and I'm like,
I wore my Josh Allen jersey during that playoff game.
Most of them told me this. They said they waited till they won it.
But that don't surprise me because a lot of people from New York moved down here. And if you're not in the city, you're a Bills fan. You're Buffalo. And there's a ton of people up there that's especially, and then there's a couple states that don't have the.
And I'll come out and say, teams. Of course, I'm not like a diehard Bills fan, but I've been a Josh Allen fan since he got drafted. So I like to see him have success. That's what I'm rooting for.
They were super excited. I'll tell you that because I tried to talk to everyone. I'm like, oh, you got your Bills stuff.
But I will say this. I brought it up Monday because Kevin makes a good point because we're gonna hear it.
Y'all been selling folding tables?
Folding tables for them
with Bills logos on them so they can jump through them.
We're gonna hear this if it happens. If Rodgers gets his second and Patrick Mahomes gets his second, you know it's going to be all over ESPN, Fox News, and everybody else, or Fox Sports and everybody else. They're going to say, are they the greatest of all time? Because they've already got two. One, it will be for how fast Patrick Mahomes has done it and the numbers that he's putting up this early in his career. And two, it will be the numbers that Aaron Rodgers has in his whole career, and he finally has a second and probably going to have the MVP this season. And I'm just like, there's no way, if you can't even get to like what Kevin said, Monday 4 with Joe Montana, we act like he's not even there. Hell, even Terry Bradshaw has more Super Bowls than they do.
Zach, what if in 1999, well, 2001, 2002, I would have told you that in 20 years, we're going to be arguing about greatest quarterbacks and basketball players, and we're not even talking about Joe Montana and Michael Jordan. Like, what? Where? Like, I'm glad Hunter brought up Montana. That whole thought, the whole time you're talking, I'm like, where the fuck's Joe Montana and all this? Like, we ain't even mentioned him. Like,
well, you can't bring in. You can't talk about Marino because he ain't got a ring. You can talk about him as an arm talent and what he was, but if we're talking championships, he's not in the discussion.
He came out. He got there first year, second year.
No rookies ever won it
from that.
No rookies ever won or made it to the Super Bowl. He made it his second year.
I mean, hell, look at this over here. Peyton, 2. Breeze, I know now only has 1, and if he retires, he will only have 1. Elway's got more Super Bowls. Bradshaw has more Super Bowls. Aikman has more Super Bowls than Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes. If Rodgers wins,
I'll put him in the 10.
I mean, I'd be fine with it.
I'd have to let him play 10 more years.
Well, I think
he might blow his ACL next week.
You're right, and I hope he doesn't. But
what
I'm
about
just
concussions?
saying,
how many times are we going to scrape him off the ground like they did?
Well, with his play style, sometimes how he gets out and starts running.
I missed that whole hit. I haven't even saw it.
It really wasn't.
He didn't get hit.
It wasn't even like in the back of his head. It was.
I said to whoever, my wife or somebody, it looked like is kind of, best way to explain it is the Dale Earnhardt hit is more neck than it was head. Like, I still haven't seen which part of the hit gave him a concussion. I don't know if it was from the defender or from him hitting the ground or from, because what he did was when he jerked his neck, it's like he got whiplash is what it looked like to me. That's my best way to explain it.
And it sounds like probably more to they say he showed no symptoms this week of concussion, always just in concussion protocol.
He's just got to pass a certain amount of tests. He does.
And the funny thing is Brett Favre come out and said that he don't need to play this week. He needs to take care of himself.
He should.
Brett said, I played through all this hard stuff. He said, I'm the all-time.
If you want longevity, then correct.
Yeah.
Probably
that's
he
what
shouldn't.
He was coming out and saying.
He shouldn't. But at the same time, it's hard to tell an athlete not to go out there and compete.
Brett made a good point. He said, you're invincible at your age now. He said, I'm 51. I'm thinking about how many concussions did I have.
Yeah.
Because they didn't test them back then.
No.
So,
yeah, I mean,
interesting
you're right.
point.
But when the Super Bowl is said and done, and if it is one of those two, we will hear it. And I want everybody to put their water bugs on, just block out the haters, because that is some
I think we're all
BS.
in agreement. I think I hope it's the Bills.
We just hope. I just don't want them to start clowning the Rodgers and everybody of the world.
Well, I want this.
With just
I just
two.
don't.
It wouldn't have been bad for Breeze to get a second.
That's why I was pulling for hard. Because to me, if I want one player to throw a pass in NFL history, I want him.
If I had
one pass to throw and I want it complete, I want him. Now, he won't throw it 70 yards. I know that. If we're sitting on the 20-yard line, no. But if we're on the 20, 25, anything inside the 20 or 25, anything in the red zone, and you want one pass thrown, it's Breeze and Montana for me. Nobody else.
I might put Aaron Rodgers there. I know he's not got a lot of championships, but the dude is good.
He's good from 40.
I'm going to put him in there if I need a Hail Mary.
Now, I'll say this. If I had to rank the quarterbacks that are left on who I would much rather see win a championship, of course it would be Josh Allen. Second would probably be Patrick Mahomes, because I do like watching Patrick Mahomes. Third would be Tom Brady, and last is Aaron Rodgers. I do not want to see Rodgers and the Packers win a championship at all. I don't. I would much rather see Tom Brady win it in his first year with the Buccaneers just to stick it to Belichick more than I would want to see Aaron Rodgers finally get his second.
So this is kind of the reason I was talking the other day, Hunter, about how I thought Cam would fit well with Kansas City.
Oh, for these opportunities?
Right. He should be running this play. So, like, why would you run a $45 million quarterback of a damn option in the
think about
NFL?
it. They did that. That was the same question they asked last year when he hurt his ankle and was out for weeks after he ran a quarterback sneak.
Yep, 3rd and 1. So, Zach, here's the play. I was going to kind of hit go ahead and go studio mode so he can see. And here, I'll grab this. So, as you can see, it's 3rd and 1, and they run the option, not the power option, the speed option. So if you don't know that, the regular triple option, power option is you got a fullback to hand off to up the middle to fake that. Well, it ain't nobody. The speed option is you get it and you go fast, right? Speed option, just take it and go. So it's basically run down the line and then pitch it if you have to. He decides to keep it, and he kind of got DDT'd onto the ground. And then watch him. He tries to get up, Zach, and he wobbles like Tyson hit him. Up.
Look like Nate Robinson.
Look at him. Yeah, he's Nate Robinson out there. He didn't get knocked out, but he's definitely wobbling.
And his foot's messed up.
And he's got a hurt foot.
He don't know where he's at.
No. So here's the slow motion.
That might be more of a neck.
Look,
right.
I'm telling you, he
that's
does
not
hit his
this
head.
looks like a whiplash. It don't look like it doesn't hit him in the head. Look, see,
yeah.
So he didn't even hit him in the head.
That's kind of close to that spinal.
So watch
spot,
this.
like
this looks like Michael Irvin's, don't it?
Yeah.
His
face
hit the ball.
I don't think that's a concussion. I agree with y'all. I think he's lucky.
That's the way he hit the ground too.
I mean, you can get a
his face didn't even hit the ground.
You can get
his face hit the football.
Paralyzed like that. He looked like he was.
See, his head never hit the ground.
He still got his neck.
It bounced off the football.
Yeah, he goes limp.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. It's to me, it seems neck. Go ahead and go back to all four of us.
I agree with that. Like I said, I did not see it.
It's you hate to see it to such a talent.
I'm gonna pull up the Irvin injury in Philadelphia and see if you guys think this is, and this is just off the top of my head, me remembering it. I haven't looked at it and compared it since. So we'll see what happens on this one. Go ahead and switch over, Tanner. All right, let's see if we get the replay on the Irvin. So this is another one where he didn't really get hit in the head.
Yeah,
his face hit the ground.
Yeah, head jammed.
Right, and this ended Michael Irvin's career. So Irvin, all he's doing is running a slant. He gets hit in the shoulder, same way. Look, left shoulder, same exact spot, and his face hit the ground. Yeah. And he immediately dropped the ball as soon as his face hit that ground. And he's talking. Emmett's there sitting there talking to him. But I remember them showing this replay and watching his head bounce on the ground, and then they said it was a neck injury, and then like, damn, it was just kind of it was just a weird play.
It wasn't jammed. That's what
right.
hurt.
You're jamming your basically probably a bone is pinching the spinal cord. So here's the best angle of it. Tell me, does this not look just like kind of what just happened?
No, it's almost identical. The only difference, he didn't have it wrapped around his head. He didn't have it wrapped around his head like
Irvin hit the turf, and Mahomes hit the ball.
With him having his head wrapped, it might have helped him. That might have had put a little bit of
I don't know, because this is the thing. They're so hush-hush about this in Kansas City. All they're talking about right now is he's going through protocol. He's passing some tests. But they're still up in the air about if he's playing this weekend. And
I mean, this image right here, Hunter, of him going down and his head. I had that burned in my head. And as soon as I saw that Mahomes, I was like, that's Michael Irvin. So, all right. Any other thing in football before I get to my fun for the day?
Nope. Nothing in football.
Let me see this. Give me a second.
Well, other than that, he practiced. He practiced today. I see the headline. Chief Mahomes has practiced, but he's in protocol.
Oh, they're going to play him.
Oh, I know
they're
going
to play him.
Be like,
I wanted to hold this up. Zach, you remember these? Gastonia Rangers. This is a pennant that I'm going to hang up here in just a few minutes, folks. If you don't know, the Texas Rangers used to have a minor league team here in Gastonia at Sims American Legion Park. And I'm going to pull them up, and I'm going to give Zach some info. I bet he didn't know. Let's see. Kevin Internet. Here we go. So, this is Pudge Rodriguez, Hall of Fame catcher, and I know you guys know the story, but Tanner, real quick, when he was here in Gastonia, I was a ball boy for one of their games, and there's Sammy Sosa and Juan Gonzalez played for Gastonia. Ivan Rodriguez, we had all kinds of Hall of Famers come through Gastonia. But Pudge, being the catcher, he back in those days, the minor league kids, Tanner, there was a lot of them. I'd say 90% of the team didn't speak English, and I was the bat boy for the game, and I had one guy that could speak English, so he would translate for them. But these boys, they wanted tons of bubble gum and tons of sunflower seeds. Well, I was busy filling up the bubblegum bucket, and all of a sudden, I hear the umpire call for balls. Well, I was the home team bat boy, so it was my job to bring the balls out. So I just reached in the bucket, grabbed a handful of balls, turned to run towards the field. Didn't think, didn't look. I'm Austin size. You've seen my son. I run through the batter's box where Pudge was, and Pudge with 4 bats hit me in the head with his swing. Knocked me and the balls everywhere in front of everybody. So it didn't hurt because he didn't swing it hard because he had 4 damn bats.
Do you have a helmet?
Oh yeah, he just hit me right in the helmet.
Yeah.
Shit, whatever. I think I might have had a Lums helmet on if I remember.
I do.
Right.
I remember those.
I think I might have had the Lums hat on. But Pudge Rodriguez, Hall of Fame catcher, hit me in the head.
Hopefully he told
With
the
a
guy
baseball bat.
tell you sorry because he couldn't.
Yeah, he couldn't
I had a
speak English
similar
at
thing
that
happen
point.
to me too.
Yeah?
When I was little. I was a bat boy for my brother's team, and one of the guys was swinging, and he had the weight still on the bat.
Oof.
And I was going to pick up one of the bats, and he took one last swing, and it hit me square in the back. And it was Bradley Keller.
Yeah.
They got drafted out of Crest.
How about Malvin Matos, Tim Salmon,
Tim Salmon, that's a interesting name. I ain't heard in a long time.
Glenn? Most of these people I've never heard of. See, I had these. I had some of these cards, and they're in a box somewhere, Hunter. Of these star.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a Pudge
Or
Rodriguez
Raffy come
card
through.
somewhere. I don't have a. No, he went. I don't. I think he was something different for him. He might have even started above it. I had this Pudge with him looking at the bat right there. That's the one I had. All right. So with that said, that's our first part of today's history. The Gastonia Rangers were a Class A minor league baseball team located in Gastonia, North Carolina. Played first for the Rangers in the Western Carolinas League. And then their home stadium was Sims Park. I didn't know this. The team moved to North Carolina, Hickory. I didn't know the Crawdads. I didn't know that was the official move. I just thought that was a new
So
team.
that is the team
That's
now.
the
They switched
Gastonia
out?
Rangers.
Is it?
And they've been the Crawdads ever since.
Oh, that?
Here's some-
Crawdads for a little while were affiliates with the Pirates, but they're back with the Rangers now.
They were the White Sox too at some point, I think. The end in Gastonia. Did you know who the owner was? George Shin. I did not know that.
I vaguely remember that now.
Charlotte Hornets and Charlotte Knights owner George Shin purchased the Gastonia franchise in 1989. In doing so, it allowed Shin the freedom to move the Knights to Fort Mill. So he bought the Gastonia team and then moved the Knights to Fort Mill. Once Shin was able to acquire a Class 3 expansion franchise to play in Fort Mill, he no longer needed controlling interest in the Gastonia franchise and sold the team to Donald Beaver. So Beaver was an Appalachian State alum, it says. He purchased the Gastonia Rangers and relocated the franchise to Hickory. So that's your small Gastonia Rangers history. Now, in the past few years, they've had the Gastonia Grizzlies. So the Grizzlies, totally different organization, totally different league, totally different name. It's a collegiate summer baseball league. So it's not a paid thing. It's college baseball players, unpaid, come hone their skills in the summer, kind of like Cape Cod League up north. The team, it says, is known for their promotional events and everything, but really, I just kind of wanted to. I'm getting to what's going on now. So they played in 2002, started in 2002. Now, what they were trying to do is get a new ballpark, and they couldn't come to an agreement. The city officials ended up coming to an agreement with a new ownership group that wanted to put a team in Gastonia. Okay?
Yes.
So, with that, they basically the deal fell through with the Grizzlies. The Grizzlies have moved to, I think, Spartanburg, and now Gastonia now has a new team.
Saw that
A total
pop up
new
the other
team.
day.
Did you see the team name? Yes or no? Before I go any further, that's what I want
saw
to
it.
get to.
I can't remember it.
Okay.
But it's very bright.
Have you been by the stadium?
I have not.
I went by this week, and oh my god,
It's a very bright
it is
logo.
It is huge. That's not the one I was going to pull up. Let's see, internet. Hold
That's
on.
mine.
This one. We could just do it on this one. That'd be fine. Oh, that's what I was going to do. I got it. Never mind. So they had a contest, and I'm going to read it. I'm gonna read the names and see what you guys what you guys would have voted for. Okay. So the contest, and this stuff is just weird. You know how you ever read any of these like press releases about describing a team name?
Yeah.
They're just awful. All right. So who you guys gonna vote for? Y'all ready? The Gastonia Fire Ants, the Gastonia Hogzillas, the Gastonia Hot Shots, the Gastonia Uppercuts, or the Gastonia Honey Hunters.
I'm voting Fire Ants.
Yeah, I would say a
Fire
Hogzilla, and I think they did the Honey Hunters.
The winner was the Honey Hunters.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Do
I remember
either
seeing
one
that
of you-
now. When you said that, I remember seeing it now.
Does either one of you have a guess as to what a Honey Hunter is?
A honey
A
hunter?
bear?
A Honey Hunter.
Yeah, would that not just be a bear?
I guessed B.
A honey badger? Hold on.
So,
I'm guessing a bear. So you go.
where are you going, Bathan?
Yes.
It's a honey badger.
Why would they not just call them a honey badger?
Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Great question.
I would just did the Hogzillas and been done. You have an awesome mascot with that.
Like,
Have the biggest
Right.
pig in the world.
so they're the Honey Hunters, which is a honey badger. Now, the honey badger is, I don't even know if they eat honey. Do they?
I don't know.
That's not why they call them honey badgers, is it?
I'm not sure.
I thought they were just straight meat eaters or something. But their logos, we're going to talk about them here. I'm going to pull it up for Zach. I need to browse.
I
this.
saw it the other day. It's pretty loud.
All right. Internet Kevin.
Yeah.
Here we go. Honey Hunters. So this is the logo.
Cool logo.
I love the logo.
Name is horrible.
The colors are the same colors as the Gastonia Grizzlies.
Good colors.
But that's not fire coming off him. His head is
Honey.
surrounded in honey. It is. Like, so
It's not a bad logo by no means.
So
that
this-
was really cool. That's
this
the one
joker
that's
right
the one
there-
I saw.
that joker right there is on the scoreboard.
That's the one that I saw.
Really big. He's on the scoreboard. And let me read. I'm gonna wait.
Like I said, that's a great logo. The name's horrible. Go Honey Hunters.
Like what do you right. Like what are you supposed to yell? Like you
Right.
you could yell "Go Badgers."
Go get that
Oh.
honey.
Zach, their Twitter feed is at Go Honey Hunters. He just look right here. It's funny you just said that. Go Honey Hunters are on Instagram and Twitter feed.
They should change it to go get that honey.
Horrible.
The logo looks cool.
It's great. I mean, it's
Honey Badger wouldn't be that bad. Honey Hunter?
No,
I might
just
even
name 'em
I
the
might even have me a
polecats.
new hat soon.
I'm gonna read you. There's a story on this, and I gotta find the exact reasoning behind it. But I'll let you know here in just a little bit. But yeah, this is the main logo.
We'll just name them the polecats.
The Hunter. Yeah. Well, that's what we're getting at. If you'll be quiet for a second. Yeah, I'm looking at some of these logos. Zach, here's the one. Here's just Gastonia name with the
Again,
honey, with the honey
I
drip
think it
in
looks
front of it.
good.
But like, I'm just trying to think, like, who said, like, in what meeting was there? Y'all, we should name them honey badgers. Yeah, but I don't like the name badger. Is there something else we could do? What if they hunt honey? What do you mean they hunt honey? Like they hunt honey, like a bee or a bear?
Would be even better if a badger don't even hunt honey.
No, that's what I'm saying. I don't think they. I don't even. Why would a badger eat honey?
I looked it up. They do eat honey.
Do they?
Yeah.
Ha! That's something they never taught us in school, and I'm going to blame my education on that. How about that? So they eat honey.
Yeah. But they eat more insects than honey. That's what
Yeah.
it said.
Thank God didn't name them insect hunters.
Well, shit. Is that why they call them honey badgers?
They
I
could have
don't
been.
know.
Hey,
Like I could be wrong.
they
this
could
whole
have been.
time.
They could have fixed the whole thing and said, "Call them the bug busters."
Oh shit. So yeah. So I don't know. I wanted to show you some Gastonia Ranger stuff real quick while Hunter's in the bathroom before I make my next point because the main reason was I wanted him here. Let's show cool. How about this? Kevin. I mean, this is just sweet. I don't care what anybody says.
It goes back to when the farm leagues actually represented their teams.
For the most part, yeah. They look like
to be in the Rangers.
Now Manny Ramirez and them played in the '98 state championship high school baseball team for Cherryville. That they played in.
I remember that.
One of those stadiums and they actually had the Marlboro man was out in left field. Burlington is where it was. So they were the Burlington Indians, and Manny and them played at that stadium. I remember them folks telling us about it and talking about it. I wonder
There was one year
Tom ever went down there to see them.
for American Legion that we had a lot of the players from Puerto Rico come up here and play. It was actually a Puerto Rico team, but I couldn't tell you who was on it now.
They were pretty good, too.
This is a preliminary shot of the stadium real quick, and I just had one more thing really, Hunter, before we get out of here, because I wanted you to see this other part. But here's kind of what the field's supposed to be. Like I said, the stadium, the scoreboard and everything looks good.
Yeah.
But there's something I want to get to. And I need you guys real quick while I set it up, I need y'all to turn around and not look at the screen while I do this. So folks that don't know where the new location of this ballpark is, Zach, are you familiar with what I'm about to say? So if you're not from the area, you might not know, and the other ball players are going to find out soon. But the team is the stadium is located extremely close, if not within home run distance away from a local adult establishment with dancers. So when the names came out, Hunter, that I just read to you, those were not the fan favorites. Those were not the write-in votes. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I've pulled up the number one write-in vote on the screen. Hunter,
Man.
tell me that's not better than everything they came up with.
A honey hunter.
The Gastonia Polecats.
Yeah, that would have been pretty good. That has really stuck out.
Let me ask you, are you going to buy a Honey Hunter shirt?
Hell no.
Would you buy a Polecat shirt?
Possibly.
I'm not even talking about going to the games. I'm talking about online. I'm going to buy a Polecat shirt.
They might.
Right?
Yeah, maybe.
Think about the nights and promotional nights they could have
Oh no.
if they were the Polecats.
Couldn't have family night.
No
In
family
fact,
night. No.
If they're smart, they need to invite the away teams for a nice little chicken wing meal across the street before the ball game starts and have them distracted. Guys, we'll feed you right across the street. Just walk over there.
Yeah.
Tell them you're with
Home field advantage.
with the honey hogs. So anyway, this was the number one favorite on the internet. People were laughing at and liking. Although there's a ton of jokes about honey hunters. Like did somebody just name them the Cougar Hunters? And just is that a different name for cougars?
I don't know.
Like there were so many.
I
Listen, you
I
said-
can't believe they named them that.
honey hunter. And it's a honey badger? You couldn't literally just say honey badger?
Yeah, right. Tanner
And
found
it's a
out they do
cool-
like Hunter.
It is.
I mean, they do like honey. They do like honey. He did find out they do like honey.
I mean, that's Tyron
They got
Matthews'
equipment. The
nickname.
mascot looks good. The colors are good.
That's Tyron Matthews' nickname is the honey badger.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like, what's wrong with the
Honey,
name honey
there's,
badger?
Cool mascot.
there's the mascot. That's on the scoreboard.
Cool mascot.
That's not bad. It could be worse.
I told
I'm
them
just saying,
everything about their logos and stuff is cool, other than the fact it says Hunter. Like, why is it not just the Badgers?
Why is it not a honey badger?
And then
a
Zach,
honey hunter.
And then Zach said, "Well, what are you supposed to yell? Go honey hunters?" And I looked up. I was reading the article at that second, and it said that's their Twitter name. Go honey hunters. How do you say that out in the outfield?
Go
I'm just sitting there drinking. Yeah, I'm drinking a beer.
honey hunters.
Now think about it.
Honey hunters on 3.
How hard would I pull and come up with some? How many funny lines could you have sitting in the outfield, yelling "Go Polecats," as opposed to "Let's go honey hunters"?
You could probably
have to
get
say a whole
amount.
sentence.
Yeah.
Polecats. Y'all like that? I know y'all.
It's
do.
better than what. It's better. Listen, I like the logo. I love the design of it.
The Polecats or the
No,
or
the honey
hunters?
hunters. But I hate the name.
Horrible.
It's no, that's horrible. And I get it. Some places like to have weird
Like you
names.
have one job.
Like a mud dog. People would be like, "Oh, it's a mud dog," when really it's just a catfish. It's like, I get it, but nobody says, "Damn, look at that honey hunter over there.
You had one
Look,
job.
look at that honey badger."
Yeah.
Like when you said honey hunter, the first thing that pops into my head if I'm thinking about an animal is Pooh Bear. Going to try and find some honey. So a bear.
One of the responses was, "I'm wearing my Winnie the Pooh shirt to every game."
Yeah.
It was funny just going down through
Honey.
reading these things.
Yes. That's it.
I'm trying to find. I just want to read the press release to end the show because oh my god, it was so full of wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Let's see, Roy Cooper. That's not even got anything to do with it.
Nothing.
I read a whole story the other day. Now I can't find it. It should have been. I thought it was on the Gazette page. Let's see if this was in. I know this is part of it, but yeah. So the Polecats don't win it, Hunter. They
Nope.
just don't win.
Unfortunate.
There's a couple different names for that place. Because it used to be a single or a double wide trailer, and they put a roof. They put a second story on it. So it used to be the titty trailer.
Gotcha.
It's got
You could have called him the titty cat. Not a kitty cat, a titty cat. Not a kitty cat, a titty cat.
There's so much wrong with that. God, I'm gonna find it. Maybe I'm not. I remember the reason, but I was gonna tell you. I'll just tell you guys off air. But the press release was ridiculous. It was about 20 sentences on how majestic a fucking honey badger is, and how it represents Gastonia.
I did not know
heart,
there
and
were
things
honey
like that.
badgers in Gastonia.
I've never seen.
Never
one.
seen one. Wow.
It was.
Hell, I've
quite
never even seen a badger in North Carolina. Jesus. Crazy.
I can't find it. Damn it. All right, that's just gonna be it. Let's wrap it up. Here, I'll play it out for the day. No, we're gonna go back to Polecats and play our music out, Hunter. Tanner, I don't know what you're thinking.
Yeah. On the pole.
Dance sexy. Come on, Tanner.
No. Jeez.
Show some skin, Tanner. No,
Nah.
I am the incredible dancer down at Gastonia Polecats.
We need to have Hunter do a new walk-in
No.
with the shorts on.
Yeah, they want to see that skin, don't they?
I want to see that thigh meat with a Polecats t-shirt. Is what I want to see.
I'll get a
We'll
little
see
I'll
guys
get a little polecat tattoo right there
on
for you.
KTC Broadcasting. Saturday Morning Sports.